Today, we're actually going to be talking about tips on being a medical assistant. This is for anybody that is thinking about going into the field or is currently in school and you just maybe want some tips and tricks on how to do well in the program, what to expect maybe even after the program. So, if this is something you are into, please keep watching. All right. So to preface, okay, I am, like I said, I am a medical assistant. I have been for a few years. And I did not take the traditional route on becoming one. I noticed that a lot of the people that have been medical assistants for a while have usually started right outside of high school, and that was their route, which is cool. If that is your route, you probably have a lot more experience. You've moved around a lot in specialties. That is not necessarily, you don't have to have the same experience, or take the same route to be a good MA. Everyone lends there differently. I decided to become an MA shortly after being a mock interview specialist for an allied health school, where I helped train students who are graduating as medical assistants, medical receptionists, pharmacy techs, things like that. Anything allied health related, home health, things like that, to sit through and land not only the interview but the job, how to prepare for the job, how to speak to their resume. So that was my introduction to healthcare. I was in that field for several years, and because I was working for a school, I was also able to go to school for free with that same school. So I decided, well, this is something I really want to do. After talking to the students and stuff like that, you have to know the field that they're in. Like, you really have to do your research, and the job provides you with those tools. So I decided, well, one of the programs they had was healthcare management, and I got my associate's degree 100% free. And I was like, I really want to pursue it. A part of the job is going through career services, which is the department after mines. So my job is pre-graduation, career services is post-graduation. And it all comes with the student's experience at the school, and it was 100% online. So I got my associate's degree in healthcare management. My first job was as an office manager for a, I guess you could say, like, it was in the neuro field. Long story on what the office was doing. It sounds borderline illegal, but basically they dealt with not electric shock therapy, but something similar. I didn't like it, and so eventually the office actually closed before I could even land on a patient. So, anywho, but that was my first job. I was an office manager at a neurology office. It was like one big office. We had neuro, we had psych, there was med, what is that called? Like, where you do like medical facials and stuff like that, shit like that. Okay, so it was like one big practice full of different specialties, and I ran the whole clinic. And so that didn't last long because, again, like I said, they did close, for I believe legal reasons. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. It was like 7 years ago. And after that, I went back into the field that I was working in until I could find more stable work, and I ended up finding work with a ENT clinic doing the same thing. And I was like, wow, like I love the fact that MAs work as search techs. If you don't know what a search tech is, do some research. There are also a lot of MAs that deal with search tech responsibilities. It just depends on where you're working. My wife is a surge tech, and it wasn't something that I did not like it. It was just like it was just another experience. I don't know whether it was something that was for me or not. Um, I don't know. I just didn't do it much. But in my experience at the ENT, it was ENT and audiology, which was really cool because you got to see what both sides did. And it was a lot of different responsibilities. I worked up front, and they had their own MAs. I ended up deciding, you know what, there was an opening. I want to go and I want to try something else, and I want to see what they do. I interviewed. My manager ended up hiring me as a medical assistant, and I was not certified. They trained me on what to do, and it went from there. And it was just like, I just skyrocketed. And after that, I went to pain management, ortho, a surgery center, primary care, urgent care, and then traveling. I also did just general surgery, where you're helping prepare patients for those procedures, no matter what it is. So I have a good range of experience, and I was like, I wanted to, kind of mix it up a little bit. It's easy to get bored in this field. To me, that is my opinion, okay? And I did something about it. So now here we are, several years later, and I can actually, if I could speak to my younger self when I was just starting out, there would be a lot of things I would do differently. But I am glad about the track that I took. I found a way in the door with the experience that I had, and sometimes that is not an opportunity either everyone takes or everyone has, and I get that. So I would say my first point of advice, and I did write some points down, would be to do your research. Find out the specialties that you like, that are important to you. Find specialties that you, okay, sorry about that, y'all. I had to make sure my wife was good. So another thing I would say, like I was saying before, sorry about that, is do your research. So find out what specialties that you think you might like. There are so many specialties that MAs can go into. Again, like I said, surgery centers, urgent care, primary care, urology, gastro, peds, whatever. And I would say hop around. Like, it's hard to assume what you think a specialty is going to be like. That is definitely something I had to learn the hard way, because when it comes to like interviewing, like in my case, I moved, right? I moved from one city to another, and the job opportunities are, I would say I had more opportunities here than I did in Tampa, because I have more experience now. But Tampa is just a bigger medical industry, if that makes sense. So I think if I had, spread my wings a little bit, tried different things, I probably would have had more experience faster. But neither here nor there, doesn't matter, because now I have a lot more experience. I'm just saying I would have had it sooner. And I think it was just a comfort thing. So do your research. Volunteer. And I say this because let's say you work at Amazon, right? You're working, you may have kids, you may not have the opportunity you may not have help. That's not everybody's situation. So if you're working in a field that is not in healthcare, maybe you've never had healthcare experience before, and it's just you and your child or your children, it's going to be hard to do your externship, because your externship has to be free. So I would either say, because you're not working every day all day, you know what I mean? I would say find locations in your area that will take free work. Free 99. There's way too many offices out here, especially now with COVID. Nobody wants to work for free. I understand that. However, free now can get you in the door later. So if you're working full-time and you are off on the weekends, right? Maybe try an urgent care. You never know. Try facilities that are privately owned, like home health facilities. There are medical assistants that work at places like that. Look at what facilities are hiring CNAs and call those facilities, because a lot of times those are usually privately owned. You might have more pull. And then look up part-time work. See if there are things in your area that are part-time, whether it's PRN, temp to hire, things like that, where you can work as a receptionist, front desk, whatever it is, surgery scheduler, anything that will help get you in the door. It is not about experience. Let me just tell you that right now. It is about how you speak to your resume. That will be a whole separate video, but that's what gets the job, not the experience. Okay. So yes, if you have no medical experience, I would definitely say see if there are things in your area that you can volunteer. Another thing, volunteer experience is experience. I have done so many things that are community based, like there are so many charity events that happen for the homeless, where you can assist with blood pressures, checking patients in. You can help with taking glucose checks. You know what I'm saying? If you have a family member at home that you've taken care of, you probably have experience doing those things. If you yourself have some of those health conditions, you have experience doing those things. So that is another opportunity to volunteer. Just saying. So try to find work in your field before you extern. That is so important, because externship is literally, you're at the mercy of the person that's sending you out. Now, let me just preface the fact that my school was ghetto as hell. Okay, it was so ghetto. If I waited until extern was done, if I had waited until my externship was done to interview or to find work, I wouldn't have been a good candidate, and it would have taken me longer to get my experience. Instead, I took the situation in my own hands and I found my own experience, and I was able to land a job on my own in my field while I was in school. That way, by the time my externship came around, 50% of the externship hours were already done. And they were free. I was working for free. My clinic was it was open 12 hours, 7 to 7. Let me just say, I just researched, guys. I just researched. I would write things down, clinics that I knew I wanted to maybe possibly interview with. Because some places do not post on Indeed or job boards at all. It costs them money. Instead, they'll post the job on their website. So I would stalk those sites, see if they had any openings. If they didn't, I would just keep watching. And there would be places that I felt like I could work. I might even have been a patient there once just to see the experience. I'm trying to be the best, so I want to work at the best, okay? So try to find work in your field before you externship. So what I did was I found a clinic. Again, this was before I was certified. Privately owned places don't preface or they don't make such a big deal about you being certified or not. By this point, I had already had about 2 to 3 years of experience as an MA uncertified. I knew how to draw blood, set up procedures, perform injections, EKGs, things like that. So I was good to go. and I was trying to work in primary care. So, you know, a lot of experience in primary care is going to be like, because you can transfer it to other things, right? So I interviewed with this place. Not only did it come with a $4 increase from where I was working before, okay, I also was able to get a butter ass shift. I was working from 6:45 to 3:30. Bro, I had the whole day to do whatever the fuck I wanted to do. I was working Monday through Friday, and I had a good provider that looked like me. It was great. It was awesome. Okay. And I had really good experience. I had fun coworkers. It was a great place to work. And after my experience, I worked there until I finished the program. Once I knew I passed the test, that's when we moved, which is the only reason why I left. So I manifested that, you know what I'm saying? I set a goal. I wanted to work at a specific place, close to my house. It was 5 minutes away because we live downtown Tampa. And I was like, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to work. This is the area I want to stay in. This is how much I want to get paid. And I found that. So from 6:30 to 3:30, I was working, getting paid. From 3:31 to 7 p.m. or to whenever we closed, I was working unpaid Monday through Friday and sometimes Saturday. I did that for the whole duration of my externship. I started about 2 months early doing that because I knew, again, my externship was coming. I was trying to get myself prepared to work in these long ass hours Monday through Friday. And by the time I started the program or the externship, you know, the externship teacher comes to the school, make sure it's an official site. They talk to your manager. They get all the paperwork situated. They make sure that it's a real clinic, you know, it's legit. They file it. And after that, you get your approval that you can extern there. And my manager will have to sign off on my hours and make sure they're right. And after that, I was able to sit and take the test for the externship. Another thing, save. Again, I know that this is everybody's situation is not an easy situation. I'm totally understanding to that. But saving is going to be important, again, because externship has to be unpaid, and not everyone can afford to work for free. If I had savings, I would have only did my externship. I maybe would have just worked part-time on the weekends somewhere just to bring an extra coin, but having savings would have made my life easier. And don't forget, my wife is also in a program doing the same exact thing. Her program was 2 years, so it was like 7 months longer than mine's. And then she has an externship for 6 months. Mine's is only 180 hours. Hers is 6 months. So it was hard for her. She was working 2 jobs. You know, we only saw each other once a week and at bedtime. And she was working just damn near every day. And then studying on her lunch break, studying at home, because you have to, you know, keep up with your studies because you still got to take the exam at the end of the 6 months. And then she was externing. So it was really hard. And if we had savings, we wouldn't have had to work during that time, and it would have made our experience 10 times better. But again, that wasn't our situation. We had to work. So I would definitely say save. If you know that you're going into a medical assistant program, and you're working while you're doing the courses, save as much as you can. Set a goal. You know, if you know, like, okay, for the next 3 months, I need to not be working, then, you know, come up with a number that works for you and your family and try to hit that goal as close as you can, either before you start the program or before you start externship, whatever works for you. But I definitely say save as much as you can. Knowing your pharmacology, medical terms, and anatomy are going to be quintessential after school. because those are probably the things that you reference the most. You use them every single day. And if you're working in primary care or urgent care, you're probably dealing with meds on a daily basis. One of the jobs I used to work at, we would dispense medication. So knowing the formula behind dispensing meds is going to be very important as well. So definitely keeping up with your studies and any pharmacology cards that you make, I would say keep them, because you'll utilize them, and then it's just good reference. Why not? It's not going to hurt you. After school, I transferred all that stuff into a tablet in my iPad, and I will go through and I'll reference it even now. So I definitely say keep up with those things. And I've mentioned this before, try and secure employment before your externship. So if you know that you've been working at this urgent care for your, externship, or an OBGYN for your externship, you're on an extended interview. That's what that is. And especially with what is going on with, the great resignation, you have more job opportunities than ever before. When I was graduating before COVID, it was like you had one student to an assignment, and they were hard. Some students didn't even get to assignments until like 3 months after graduation. That's terrible. Now you might be having 3 students at the same site because they're that short. So you want to stick out, you know what I mean? You want to, just remember that you're on an extended interview, and go there and attempt to be a really good team member, like being prepared for that externship. And I definitely want to make a video with more in depth about that, like, making sure that you're wearing scrubs that you're comfortable in, and that you feel good in too, because when you look good, you feel good, and you're a representation of that team. Make sure that you know your terminology, your pharmacology, you've practiced, you're confident in, performing EKGs, drawing blood, setting up procedures before you graduate, things like that, because you never know what you're going to be asked to do. When you get to the field of your externship, a lot of it is just jumping right in, so you may not always have the opportunity to be handheld. And I see this a lot. We would get a lot of students when I was at primary care, and it would be like they were almost scared to do anything. And I get that you're nervous, but again, this is a working interview, an extended one. And if they're like, this person isn't working well, or maybe they're not a good team player, or they're just, they don't, work well with other people, it's not going to work out. Your externship is going to be cut, and then you'll have to start all over again. So when you start on your externship, make sure that you are prepared to go. Like, green means go. And you want to make sure that you are ready and you're confident, even on things that you don't know. I found it easier to train somebody that was like, oh, can I try? Can you show me? What's that? Well, why do you do it that way? Is this the only way you can do it? Can you show me? Can you show me? Can you show me? That was my catchphrase on everything. Can you show me? Can I try? And it made me a good employee, and it also made me extremely hireable. So I will say, when you're going out and you're interviewing for these externships, or when you're working on these externships, just make sure that you're giving it 1,000%. It's not about knowing, you know what I'm saying? You're new, you're not gonna know. But when you make an effort to go above and beyond to learn, that's what makes a good employee. Let's see. Try and find schools, yes, that offer more than one certification along with your MAs. You see? Stop. My coworker, or one of my managers that I worked with, she was a certified medical assistant. She was also a certified x-ray tech and patient care tech. She got them all from the same school in one program. She took the certifications for each one, of course, but her program was 2 years instead of a few months because it was an associate's degree. If you have more than one certification under your belt, you're going to obviously be more valuable, and then you can ask for more pay. So now, to make very clear, you don't have to have an associate's degree as an MA to be more valuable. What I'm saying is, if there is a program that happens to be an associate's degree, but it also comes with other certifications, do it. If the school only offers it as a associate's, but it comes with nothing else, just get your certification. You'll start working faster and you'll do the same job. But there are programs that you can do your MA certification, X-ray, PCT, and phlebotomy all in one program. So I would look out for those. And do your research on your pay. So I feel like I see this a lot in like medical assistant groups, mostly on Facebook, where MAs, I think, have this ideology on pay. Now, employers are obviously going to try you. You know what I'm saying? It's the nature of the game. But I think the more you know, the better you do, right? So if you go into a job interview, you're looking on what site is that? I think I can't remember the name, but if you're Googling, what the pay is in your area for a medical assistant, the range is going to be from this to this. It could be from, $10 to $25. It could be from $8.50 to $19. It's just going to vary on your state. I totally understand that. However, one size does not fit all. Your experience is not the other person's experience. How you interview, how you speak up for yourself, how you advocate for yourself is not going to look the same. How I do it, how she does it, how he does it, we're different. And with that being said, I think that in knowing what the field is paying in your area is important, yes. However, knowing how much your experience is paying is different. Okay, in my field, in my city, Charlotte, the scale is between $11 and $23 an hour for a medical assistant. That's average pay. My last job before I took a travel assignment, I was making $25 an hour. Just because that is what the scale says does not mean that that's what you have to accept. My first job as a medical assistant, I was making $14. My first job, no experience, $14. My experience had nothing to do with what I got paid. It was how I interviewed that did the trick. I'm telling y'all, the more confident you are, the higher you can speak to your experience, no matter what it is, the more you will get paid. And just again, knowing how to negotiate, knowing that you're not going to, when the question comes, what are you looking for per hour? Instead of giving a number, you're giving a range. I never ever answer that question with, well, I'm looking for 32 an hour. No, I'm looking to stay between the ranges of this, period. And it goes from there. So I say that to say, my last tip being, make sure you keep up on your studies, because again, even after school, there are things that are ever changing, and you want to keep up with those things, especially if you plan on moving up in the field, whether you're becoming an office manager, a medical assistant lead, billing and coding, things like that. There are so many things that we can do as MAs. so many specialties that we can work in. So the world is yours, okay? I would say move around. I can't get with the idea of staying stuck at one place. I don't care how much I like it. I feel like it is it's just, it holds me back from what I know is out there to learn. And I want to move around. Like, to me, that's important. Your job can only give you but so much experience, and a lot of times I end up getting bored, so I do move around, which is why I now travel as an MA. So I would say learn what you need to learn, meet the people you need to meet, you know what I'm saying? Don't burn bridges, leave those jobs on good terms if you can, and move on. Find your next specialty that you want to try and gain more experience in, because once you have your foot in the door, the rest is history, and it's only up from there. So I hope that this video gives you a lot of advice, some encouragement, you know, and confidence. You don't have to be a veteran to be a good MA, because some of these veteran MAs are not good team members. So go out there, learn what you need to learn, be excited, because it's an exciting field to work in, and you got this. I really, 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 really thank you guys for watching. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to speaking with you all in the next video. Deuces.